Sea level rise will hugely differ if we can limit global warming. This is what a new study says, coming ahead of COP26 and the climate summit in Glasgow, Scotland, which China says it will not attend, even though China is the world's biggest, hugest polluter. Even if humanity beats the odds and caps global warming by 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, sea levels will rise for centuries to come and swamp cities currently home to 500 million people or more. Researchers warned Tuesday. As we know, all the ancient cities, for reasons of subsistence, existence, are around coasts for fishing, for travel, and rivers. Now, I'm going to give you a map of NOAA's sea level rise, coastal flooding impacts, and we're going to start with New York City, areas where I used to live, to see what was going on there. We'll see that in a few seconds. So, in a world that heats up another half degree above that benchmark, an additional 200 million of today's urban dwellers would regularly find themselves knee-deep in seawater and more vulnerable to devastating storm surges, as they report on environment research letters. Now, in New York City, the Rockaways are always flooded, even in a regular rain, even Flushing Meadow Park, but we'll see that later. So, worst hit in any scenario will be Asia. It accounts for 9 of the 10 megacities at highest risk. Land home to more than half the populations of Bangladesh and Vietnam would fall below the long-term high tide line, even in a 2 degrees Celsius world. Built-up areas in China, India, and Indonesia would also face devastation. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below. Most projections for sea level rise and the threat it poses to shoreline cities run to the end of the century and range from half a meter, that's about 1.5 feet, to less than twice that, depending on how quickly carbon pollution is reduced. Now, we know that the average height of the elevation of Long Island is only 50 feet above sea level. It's shocking, but that's what it is. Now, oceans, though, will continue to swell for hundreds of years beyond 2010, fed by melting ice sheets, heat trapped in the ocean, and the dynamics of warming water. No matter how aggressively greenhouse gas emissions are drawn down, the findings show. It's not if, but when. Roughly 5% of the world's population today live on land below where the high tide level is expected to rise based on carbon dioxide that human activity has already added to the atmosphere. This is what lead author Ben Strauss, CEO, chief scientist of Climate Central, told agency France Presse. Today, concentration of CO2, which lingers for hundreds of years, is 50% higher than it was in 1800. And Earth's average surface temperature has already risen 1.1 degrees Celsius. So that's enough to eventually push up sea levels nearly 2 meters, more than 6 feet. Whether it takes 2 centuries or 10, Strauss said, the 1.5 degrees Celsius warming limit enshrined in the Paris Agreement that nations will try to keep in play at the COP26 Climate Summit in Glasgow next month translates into nearly 3 meters over the long haul. That's over 10 feet. Unless engineers figure out how to quickly remove massive amounts of CO2 from the atmosphere, that amount of sea level rise is not a matter of if but when, according to the study. And these are the optimistic scenarios. The headline finding for me is the stark difference between 1.5 degrees Celsius, he said, world after sharp pollution cuts versus a world after 3 or 4 degrees Celsius of warning. Strauss says at Glasgow and for the rest of this decade, we have the chance to help or to betray 100 generations to come. So right now we're buying time. National carbon cutting pledges under the 2015 Paris Treaty would, if honored, still see Earth warming by 2.7 degrees Celsius by 2010. If efforts to rein in greenhouse gases falter, temperatures could rise 4% Celsius or more, above mid-19th century levels. This much warming would add 6 to 9 meters, That's about anywhere from 18 to 30 feet to global oceans over the long haul. So that means, the waves slapping on Long Island would not be good. Now, and forces cities currently home to nearly 1 billion people to either mount massive defenses against future sea level rise or rebuild on higher ground. In China alone, land occupied today by 200 million people, 200 million, would fall below high tide in a 3 degrees Celsius scenario, and the threat is not only long-term. Absent massive seawalls, Chinese cityscapes, homes to tens of millions, could become unlivable within 80 years. 1.5 degrees Celsius of warming will still lead to devastating sea level rise, but the hotter alternatives are far worse, Strauss says. He says we're in bad shape, but it's never too late to do better, and the difference we could make is enormous. At higher levels of warming, the danger increases substantially of triggering the irreversible disintegration of ice sheets or the release of natural stores of CO2 and methane in permafrost, scientists warn. Capping the global warming as low as possible also buys us time to adapt. It's almost certain that seas will rise more slowly in a 1.5 degrees Celsius or 2 degrees warmer world, and researchers from Princeton University and Potsdam Institute for Climate Impact Research in Germany contributed to the study. This is from Agence France Presse. It's on Science Alert by Marlo Hood. Now we're going to go to the NOAA map showing flooding. You can see the flooding anywhere you are in the United States, but I'm taking New York just as an example. Let's go and see the map now. So here we are around the area I used to live. I used to live right around here. That must be Union Turnpike. This is Union Turnpike. Okay, around here, and we had a little bit of a swampy area because we had reeds growing in that, but that was built up. Okay, that's Queens College where I attended, Casino Park, golf course. Okay, look at this, Flushing Meadow Park. Okay, of course, when it rained heavily, we used to get flooding there, and that's still going on. But let's pull out a little bit. You can even see the airport area of LaGuardia. Look at that flooding. Okay, and what's this area here? Off Whitestone. Okay, there we go. Okay, look at this. Of course, there's nothing built there because it's obviously it's not going to be good for any building there, with building on swamps. I had gone to Little Neck Bay, doesn't have any flooding. Let's go out a little bit. Let's go to around, here we are. Look, even John F. Kennedy. What is that? Jamaica Bay? What is this? Far Rockaway, the Rockaways. Oh, it doesn't show flooding here, but it does take place because I used to have friends that lived there, and that was terrible. Staten Island. We have flooding here in this area, here. You can see that. Okay. Some around this. Oh, look at this. Okay. This is off towards New Jersey. Manhattan towards New Jersey, off the Hudson River. You can see the low-lying area. Look at this. This is today's scenario, let alone 100 years in the future. Okay. New York, New Jersey. Oh, that's development there. Okay, let's go back to Manhattan. Should we go to Delaware? Let's go to Delaware. Let's go Wilmington, Delaware. Okay. Delaware. Okay. There we go. Okay, you can see some flooding around here. Okay, around the river. Atlantic City, New Jersey, Delaware. All this low-lying area, of course. Okay, all along here. Yes. Should we go down a little bit? Look at this. Okay. Amazing. Let's pull out a bit. Okay. Wilmington, there's Wilmington. Myrtle Beach. Of course, that's to be expected. Oh, okay, there we go. Florida, we're in Florida. Look at this here. This here. Florida, we know, is has a lot of problems with sinkholes. Look at this. Okay, that's to be expected. So that's today's scenario, let alone what's going to happen in about 100 years. So I'll leave a link below for you for this. You can see, check out your area and see where you are. Okay, Charleston. Okay, thank you for your support. Please leave your comments. Thank you.